Which is better, fixed rate mortgage or variable rate mortgage?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are delighted that we've created for you free access to 740 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home and building wealth wisely through real estate. And you can access them from YouTube, from our Dekker Team channel, or from chri.ca, or pretty much any podcast platform.
Yes, you can. Isn't that exciting?
Can. And the answer is yes. Fixed rate, variable rate. That's a lousy answer.
Is
Why
it really?
would someone say yes when I'm saying which is better? Aren't you asking yourself, not you, Ken, but you listener who's here with us right now, are you not saying which is better? Or you may be saying, hey, I'm a fixed rate person, and someone else is saying, I'm a variable rate person.
They might be, because they might have that identity that they stick with that no matter what. Kind of like politics,
Right.
right? I stick with my party no matter what.
Whether they're good, bad, or otherwise.
And so the point is, the reason I said yes is they're both great. And it depends. It depends on what's happening in the market. It depends on where things are projected to go. It depends on, is it an investment property? Is it my personal property? It depends on, do I have margin to absorb, excuse me, if the rates go up? Do I have enough ability to pay a higher payment? Or if they, if the variable rate is a lot lower than the fixed rate at the moment, can I bank the difference? In other words, take the lower one for a while, but set my payment at what it would be at the higher interest rate. So I'm paying the mortgage faster, but using the variable rate advantage. But sometimes they're very close. Then I got to decide, is variable going to be going down, or is it not? Is it going to stay steady, or is it going to go up a little bit? Then I might pick fixed. And then how long for fixed, right? That's the question. And there's even more than that. There's also what happens with the cancellation or the termination, the prepayment penalties, and all that kind of stuff. So there's more in a mortgage document than just the interest rate and the term.
Right. So we want to look at or be aware of what is the payment privileges or the payment penalties. I mean, the banks call them privileges. We call them penalties because it's costing you something to discharge a mortgage. And under what situations can you discharge a mortgage? And is it an interest differential or is it an interest payment? Right? 3-month interest penalty is usually much lower than an interest differential payment.
Well,
and most people don't even understand what that means. So I think what we're attempting to say here is, first of all, don't just go with a carte blanche statement because it's what you've always done. Look at your personal situation. Everything Ken just said was mostly outside himself and outside his control, what's happening in the markets. I also think for some people, if they don't know what their payment is and can't tolerate the risk of it going up, then they are better fixed rates. And it is about 2/3, 1/3 in most of the markets.
And what do you mean 2/3, 1/3?
2/3 of people approximately take a fixed rate mortgage and approximately 1/3 take a variable rate mortgage. And yet I hear a lot more noise about the power of variable rate. So what we do and what we think makes the most sense, I think a lot of it comes from that sense of security that may not be for real, but feels for real.
Yeah.
Because I know we've done that in the past.
Yeah, I've taken the odd variable rate, but most of our mortgages have been fixed rate.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a fear thing or
It's
a
a fear
security
thing.
thing.
Yeah, it
okay,
is.
yeah, that's saying I'm
It
fearful.
is.
Now, for investment properties, I do lean towards fixed rate. And the reason I do, and many people bought investment properties, not through me, but bought them on the variable rate because it was like 1.5% or something. You go, why would I pay 2.5% when I can get 1.5% during COVID? And the problem is they did the analysis on that building at that low rate. So they're overpaying for properties because they're still cash flowing at that low rate. But they didn't take into consideration that they might skyrocket to 5-7%. Some people had to sell their investment properties because they couldn't afford to keep writing checks to the bank because the rental income wasn't enough to pay all the expenses. So when it comes to investment property, I'm a fixed kind of guy. I like fixed rate. I like 5 years because it's usually the highestly discounted interest rate is the 5 year. The bank likes the security of 5 years. And when you do that, now you know that your rental income is going to cover your mortgage for 5 years, right? What happens in 5 years? Well, if interest rates are down, great. If interest rates are same, great. If interest rates are higher, revert back to our first session about talking about extending amortizations, because now you had a 25 or 30 year amortization. You have 5 years less on it. You could extend back out to make sure the property still cash flows or doesn't cost you more money than it did in the beginning. Does that make sense?
It does. So it takes a little longer to pay it off in that case. And it still keeps everything working for you rather than against you.
And I sleep at night not worrying about it.
Right. And so really a clarity call may be the best choice, whether it's your principal residence, whether it's investment property. Know your numbers, understand your numbers, and understand the total package that goes along with variable rate versus fixed rate, not just a carte blanche.
Yeah. And, you know, when you get your mortgage renewal in the mail, it's a little confusing.
It's a lot confusing.
Okay, not so much for me, but I love this stuff, right? But for most, it is. It's got 5 or 6 different options and what your payment's going to be and all this sort of stuff. And it's got a fixed rate option. It's got a variable option. It's got an interest rate. Bear in mind that most of those interest rates are negotiable. They're not giving you their absolute best yet. So you need to call them and discuss that. Okay. Then
let's say that one more time.
Okay.
When you get your renewal papers, and we've said this on many shows, so if you listen to Life's Inside Track consistently, we are going to continue to say, don't just accept the rate or the term or the amortization or the anything that's on your renewal papers. Understand them and call the bank because a lot of it's negotiable and changeable. This is not set in stone. It's just their desire. Their desire, if you're going to pick a fixed rate probably, and you're not going to question the interest rate. You want to question or challenge the interest rate on your renewal documents because their consistent customer doesn't get their preferred rate. Their new customer often gets their preferred rate or the one that at least asks for it.
Yes. Now, one time I do like a variable rate is if I'm thinking of selling
then it's
or
such a good
refinancing later, then the variable rate is great because it's usually 3 months interest penalty, whereas an open mortgage has a much higher interest and it may only take 3 months of paying that interest to have covered the 3 month interest penalty.
So now you opened something up altogether different. He said an open mortgage, and that's because one of our clients recently got stuck. They wanted to remain flexible because they were going to shift a lot of things around their financing. So they went with an open mortgage. Well, the rate on an open mortgage is through the roof, but they did it because they didn't want an interest penalty
but
to pay it off.
Avoiding that is more expensive than it could be, right? So
Warren Buffett's right. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing.
And we're glad that we're able to clarify your options because as we do, your wisdom will flow.
Next, we're going to create more understanding and more knowing.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.